is ATL Day Ones, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
It is ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. We want to just say thank you for making ATL Day Ones your first listen of the day. And remember, we are free and available wherever you download your podcast and wherever you download your podcast. Make sure you give us a 5-star review. Yes, I said 5-star review. Anything less is unacceptable. Appreciate you for that in advance. And if you have not liked or subscribed to our YouTube page, that is Locked On Sports Atlanta, what in the world are you waiting on? We know we've been waiting on the Atlanta Braves. They are in first place. We will definitely get into that. And T, the Falcons have released their depth chart, but did Drew Dalman earn that spot? We'll talk about that. And last but not least, and for the culture, I think that DeJounte Murray is getting off to a really good start, even though we haven't started playing games yet. We'll talk about all that, but T, the Braves get the win last night against the Oakland Athletics. It looked a little shaky because Kyle Wright, was all over the place.
Yes.
The control wasn't there. He hitting batters, and he just looked like he was just really off. But thankfully, the Braves bats and Marcell Ozuna was giving a little production last night. I think I don't. Of course, you like to see Kyle Wright get that 18th win, but T, I think one of the things that you like about the idea of team is that when your teammates is having an off night, they're right there to pick you right up.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Wright was struggling, Braves bats were slugging. So it all kind of balanced itself out. And literally, you got a contribution from just about everybody that has been the cog in the wheel, really from June 1st for this entire run. And you mentioned Marcell Ozuna as well. Then this little stretch where he seems to be playing again. He's gone 6 for 12. We're talking a home run, 3 RBI. I mean, not a bad stretch for him, especially if he is trying to make his case for the postseason roster. Now is the time to make that case for that roster. But also, you made a point about Wright. Everybody has an off night. It's just like Snit said. Kyle Wright had an off night last night. It happens. We don't expect anything less than a bounce back. But I really, really like what I saw out of the bullpen, who said, you know what? We got you. We got you. Right. So Raciel Iglesias, AJ Minter, Kenley Jansen, for him to come back and get a 1-2-3 ninth after the meltdowns that we've seen of recent. It just reminded you there's a reason that he has 32 saves, and that's a league best this season. So yes, you love to see an all-around game. Meanwhile, looking at what the Mets are doing, polar opposite. Braves 6 wins in a row, Mets 3 losses in a row. And like you said, that brings us to a tie atop the NL East.
Yes, I'm absolutely loving it. And we'll get into a little petty in regards to the Mets a little bit later on in the show. But first, T, tell the folks about what's going on at Built Bar. What do they got going on for the good listeners and viewers for Locked On Sports Atlanta?
Yeah, so listen, guys, I got to put my specs on for this one because there's so much information that we want to share with you guys, just stuff that is chock full of goodness when it comes to BuiltBar.com. So they are back at it again. They've got a new flavor for you, and you got to love it, Jarvis, because literally Built brings a new flavor, it seems like, every other week. And once again, they've done it. So Built Bar is now talking cookie dough chunk puffs. And who didn't like cookie dough when you were growing up, right? So that's a light flavor, a chewy texture, real dough chunks, by the way, and 100% real chocolate. So you gotta love that. And hey, it's good to you and it's good for you. Yes, it's tasty, but you can't beat the fact that it's got 15 grams of protein, only 160 calories, and those grams of protein in particular, that protein is actually the kind that will absorb very easily. It's called collagen protein. So when you think about protein, is very important. Protein sometimes is tough to break down. This protein is not. So that means it's going to go through your body and give you all of the nourishment you need. So whether that's coming out of the gym, fresh off a workout, and you need a snack, or you just need to pick me up throughout the day, or God forbid, I know I just had some traffic challenges going from point A to point B. You might need a snack in traffic. This is the snack for you. So where can you find it? built.com. And so it's really easy. You can order a box of cookie dough chunk puffs. Go ahead and order the new right now. You use promo code LOCKED15 and you'll get 15% off that order. Again, that's built.com using the promo code locked on to get the 15% off. And of course, your body will thank you.
No doubt about it. You have to thank your body from time to time, and they're gonna thank you if you put the right stuff in there. Now, speaking of the right stuff, Josef Martinez hasn't been the right stuff as of late, and I think that Josef Martinez has really not become the face that he once was for this organization, that is Atlanta United. And I think that there were some instances about what was going on with Martinez, even before Darren Eels left. And I think that's one of the
Right.
things that you have to really keep an eye on. Now it's come to a head, and he's been suspended for conduct detriment to the team. I don't know about you, but I'm not really surprised by this coming out right now, because obviously there's a lot of frustration going on within this organization.
Exactly. And you kind of had these hints here and there that something wasn't quite right. The Gonzalo Pineda and Josef Martinez just were not on the right page, right? But you're thinking
Right.
to yourself, the injury to the knee, having to get the knee scoped again, and that's setting back during the season, and all of the things that go through your head. And then, of course, there was so much controversy around him not getting starts. Match after match after match, he's coming in the second half and still providing something, but not providing like you're used to the King seeing. And now the altercation last Sunday, Felipe Cardenas of the Athletic reported that was we'll call it an incident, because an altercation sounds like physical, but it was a verbal
Right. Yeah.
incident, if you will, a back and forth between them that ended up in Josef knocking over the food table, so we're told. So it's like, okay, knocking over tables and whatnot, but again,
Come on,
that
man.
frustration kind of builds. And my question is, at this point, and it's something that people have been low key talking about, at the end of this year, you're looking at a team that has gone through what, 4 managers since Tata Martino parted ways with him a couple of years ago. And every time the organization has chosen the player over the coach. In every instance, it's been the right thing to do. I'm not sure it's the right thing to do this go round, because Gonzalo Pineda has something special in his ability to see things, being a former MLS player himself. Josef Martinez, as we all hate to admit it, but it seems like he might be on the downside of his career. So we're going to be watching this to see if this is kind of sort of showing us the beginning of the end with Josef Martinez. Because listen, United has more than enough challenges these days. They've got to deal with the Miles Robinson issue for starters. So, and they've got injuries on top of injuries. This is a setback that I think is going to have some long-term implications.
Long-term implications, meaning that it's time to tear it all down and start all over. Because, like you said, Josef Martinez hasn't been himself off the field and on the field as well. So
Mhm.
we'll definitely keep monitor that as the Atlanta United try to figure this bad boy out. Now,
Yes.
speaking of a team that doesn't have to figure it out, we know exactly what's going on. The Georgia Bulldogs, the
Oh
AP
yeah.
poll comes out, top 25, and as you know, that a lot of people listen to this show, and it seems like the Associated Press listens to this show as well, because they moved Georgia into the number 2 spot on the top 25,
Yes.
leapfrogging the Ohio State Buckeyes. They kind of struggle a little bit with Notre Dame, but
Hmm.
the Georgia Bulldogs did exactly what they were supposed to do, and they kicked the crap out of a lesser opponent, and they just so happened to be ranked 11th in the nation.
Indeed, exactly. And that is a great point. They so happen to be 11th, because if you were really that good, how do you drop all the way out of the AP poll in week one? Yes, you got a drubbing, but again, you dropped 14 spots out of the poll. And we talked about this yesterday. The question was, okay, Georgia plays 11, the number 11 team, like it's 3-11, if you will. And then you got Ohio State, I think it was 2-6, if you will. And so we were wondering, okay, that was a struggle for Ohio State, but Notre Dame was higher ranked in sort of that early college football playoff conversation. Would Georgia's performance be enough to leapfrog Ohio State? And it did. And with the voting coming back, with Alabama not getting all 61 votes, Georgia actually got 17 first place
Yep.
votes. There's some commentary and some conversation that I think Dog Nation should be encouraged about the fact that, yeah, even though the Crimson Tide had a shutout win, it was over a non-ranked opponent, and people are still looking at Georgia like, yeah, you're a viable number one too.
Yeah, they look real because I think last year when you looked at that team, you understood that the defense was elite, and a lot of times voters don't really cater to that, right? Like if your
Right.
offense is cooking, and I think that's something that for the Georgia Bulldogs and Todd Monken to put that
Mm-hmm.
the way they put that offense was on display against the
Yes.
Oregon Ducks. I think that is something that gets voters' attention. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe, like you said, that 17 first place votes, I think they more than have their attention as we continue to move forward through the season. Now, the
Yes.
Atlanta Falcons are getting ready to move
Mm.
forward into their
All
first
right,
game of the
Jarvis.
season. They released their depth chart yesterday, and Drew Dalman is the starting center. And y'all know how I feel about that.
Mhm.
Now, I've let my thoughts convey. We're going to talk about whether or not we feel like Drew Dalman earned that bad boy or not. That's next, right here on ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and T, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. Don't go anywhere.